let's give this another try. Welcome back. We are live with Jordan Mould. Jordan is the design director at Kirkby, part of the Romo Group. Kirkby is an influential British interiors brand known for its contemporary and often playful approach to innovative design. Jordan is the fifth generation of the family to run the Romo Group, which was founded in 1902 by his great-great-grandfather, Robert. Surrounded by textiles from an early age, Jordan has always had a passion for color, texture, and pattern. Welcome.
Thank you. Despite the technical errors, yeah.
But we're not going to let that stop us today. It's always fascinating when you have a conversation with someone who is part of a family business, how they got, how did you get involved with the Romo Group and with Kirkby, and what's the personal narrative behind that?
Yeah, so I've been involved in this company or in the Romo Group on and off since I was 16, really. So
you were started early.
Yeah, I started very early doing kind of summer jobs, just, you know, when I was off school or off university, just working in different departments in the around the company. So, you know, when I was 16, I was working in the warehouse, and as I got a little bit older, you know, late teens and early 20s, I spent more time in office-based roles, and sort of with a view to getting to know the company throughout, and also the people involved in the company as well.
So that gave you a global view of the different areas. And what do you remember as a key, just like one key thing that you learned from that time?
Well, just really getting to know all the team, because there's still plenty of people. You know, I'm 34 now, so what's that, 18 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And there's still plenty of people that I used to work with when I was 16 who are still there now. So they've kind of, you know, known them for a very long time, and just it's great to build those relationships within the business. And also, you know, often I also got to see the different parts of the business and how it all works and comes together. So yeah, it's just an understanding of how things work, which takes quite a while.
And Jordan, Kirkby is a new company for the group, newish company.
Mm-hmm.
What sets it apart in your area of the market as a designer?
Yeah, well, we always like to try and take a different view on things. We like to try and do things which are, as I said, different or unique, or, you know, if we spot something there's already a lot of, or there's a trend, and you know, we feel like it's well catered for, then we tend to try and leave those things alone and look for our own direction, really. Obviously, we're still influenced by things that we see and that we like, but we're always trying to put our own take on things. So we're not just offering something very similar to what's out there, which is a challenge. But I think, yeah, that is definitely at the forefront of our, as a team, that's at the forefront of our kind of mindset.
And for our viewers who are new to the brand, how, in one or two sentences, what is Kirkby?
Sorry, I missed that. You broke up.
Okay, for our viewers who are new to the brand,
Mm-hmm.
what is Kirkby about? Like, how would you summarize it for someone who's coming to the brand for the first time?
Yeah, well, in our space or our sector, interior textiles, I like to think we're constantly trying to push boundaries and experiment, bring in new things with each season, each launch. And also, yeah, just try new things and not to get kind of stuck in a creative loop or, pigeonholed for doing the same kind of thing all the time. I think if you do a good thing for too long, it then it quickly becomes repetitive.
You keep moving, and in part of your process, you've collaborated with everybody from Eli Kishimoto to Tom Dixon and Transport for London. So that's quite a range. Tell us, do you enjoy collaborations, and what do you get out of them from a creative point of view?
Yeah, no, collaborations are great. They, yeah, I mean, they kind of have to, for me, they have to happen reasonably naturally. And I think most importantly, you have to enjoy the process. And you have to kind of have the initial discussions and be on a very similar kind of page. Otherwise, it's I think it will just make life harder for each brand respectively. If there's not that synergy and you guys don't gel. But if assuming you can get to that point, then it's great, because I always kind of try and challenge ourselves as a studio and the other brand that we work with to do something different, to push ourselves out of our comfort zones. And
How did Tom Dixon put you out of your comfort zone?
They got us experimenting with lots of digital printing techniques, and we had quite a tight deadline on that one as well. So they were two things which, we were much more comfortable after we'd achieved it.
So a collaboration with someone like Tom Dixon then push you to be more creative digitally, and also, I guess, time-wise, to deliver an original collection sooner than you would normally do.
Yeah, really quickly, which was a good challenge, and one that I'm pleased that we were able to rise to. But also, they got us working. The source material itself was something that we would never, or just we wouldn't do normally. So we were printing rolls of hair and foil and super contemporary and experimental things. So it was real fun to have that coming through the studio at the time.
And how was it with Eli Kishimoto? What did you do with them?
Yeah, Eli Kishimoto was just great fun from the start, really. I mean, Mark and Wack, husband and wife team, based down the road in Brixton. And it was just really natural progression. We met at a trade fair, and then, got to know each other's brands and each other personally. And we talked about how it might look, and then I kind of gave them a list of things, sort of like a mini brief of the type of things that we were really into at that point in time. And, they took to that really well, and then came back with some starting points, and it was great. I mean, it was really exciting, but I still remember that meeting. There was so much good material to work with. And
Jordan, so you're collaborating with different people, but Kirkby has its own identity. How do you make sure that these collaborations are, innovative, exciting, because you are collaborating with well-known people, and at the same time fit into the language of Kirkby, so that they fit into your collection?
Yeah, well, that kind of goes back to what I was saying about I like the collaboration to kind of push both brands into an area which they wouldn't usually be in, or or appear, or stylistically. So, and that's kind of our side of things, is that we might get sent lots of things to look over, and then we make our amendments, and but we might be making amendments on stuff that we would never have started with in the first place. So you come to that kind of mutual meeting point. So whoever we collaborate with, we wouldn't want it to look too Kirkby, but then again, we wouldn't want it to look too the other brand either. Yeah, because I think it's very easy, particularly if you have a really strong brand, to just adopt their aesthetic and put it onto whatever you're doing. But and that could definitely work. But I think there's an opportunity to do something more challenging for both parties.
And it probably gives a collaboration more longevity if it fits into what the Kirkby brand does, because it doesn't become a one-off, but it's more of a shared experience that can continue into the future. And then now looking at the future, what changes do you see happening in our homes and the way we live? Because obviously textiles are a very important part of our homes. How do you see us using our homes differently going forward?
Yeah, well, obviously, the past few months, I think every single one of us have been spending more time in their homes than ever. So I think that's been a real time for reflection and looking at everyone's respective spaces and trying to get the most out of what they've got, really, and really appreciating how precious that space is to each and every one of us, really. You know, really highlighted by the fact that we haven't really been able to go out anywhere else. So yeah, and I think, you know, I think that sentiment was already there, but the lockdown has definitely highlighted that. So yeah, I think, and then
how do we cocoon ourselves with Kirkby? Because we're spending more time at home. What do you see us doing with fabrics that maybe we weren't thinking of before?
Well, you know, you can get more creative. I've seen it done. I always like it when I see wall paneling with fabric. So you can like padded walls with fabric. I think that's pretty cool when I see that. So yeah, you take an upholstery fabric and put it on the wall.
Home.
What was that? Sorry.
That's a way to feel safe when you come back into your home. You have the padding, the softness, the texture.
Yeah, just well, yeah. I mean, it's safe for multiple reasons, but yeah, it's just you know, it's quite a cool and sort of like that loungy feel.
And what changes do you think the industry should be making in response to the challenges that we're facing? Do you see fairs continuing to be important? Are you presenting collections in a different, creative way?
Yeah, I think yeah, this whole crisis will definitely bring about change on multiple levels. So yeah, working more remotely. I mean, this is a great example of something that's changed already. I mean, it's my first Instagram live. Yeah, so more sales presentations, you know, talks, seminars, all these things can be done remotely, and it's beneficial, you know, because it's easier to connect with people all over the world, but you're saving time, effort, money, and CO2 emissions for the environment as well. So I think there's a lot of efficiencies to be had. That being said, I still think there's an appetite for, you know, big international fairs like Milan. I think, you know, now that everyone has been locked down, personally, I can't wait to get back to Milan, because you realize that it's the human element as well, and you know, you meet so many interesting people in the industry and visitors, and all the conversations you have. I still don't think that can be replicated by a virtual reality.
So the personal connection is important still going forward, even though we have alternatives. And when it comes to your production, because you're producing fabrics using different methods, and you work with different types of fabrics, are you changing the process in any way? Are you changing your production in any way?
Yeah, well, we'll definitely be looking to get more out of less. That was on our radar anyway. So, you know, trying to reduce our waste and our clearance, and just make efficiencies on that front. And then also, there's a lot more you know, technology has moved on considerably with sustainable and recycled products. So yeah, I think now more than ever there's a need for more sustainable and less wastage in general.
And people don't often know this, but the Romo Group has always been involved with charities, both locally and internationally. And I think that when you explore a brand more and more, you do want to know, more about, what they stand for. Could you tell us more about your efforts in the UK and in Africa?
Yeah, so we've had a project running with Oxfam for, I want to say, over 10 years now. I think yeah, it's certainly coming towards 10 years or around that period, which is based in the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. And that's a schools building project for junior schools building projects. So over the course of the time we've been there, we've built over 50 schools.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you know, it's my dad's the CEO and owner, and it's very much a personal project of his, which is, you know, his infectious enthusiasm has permeated through the whole team at head office, and yeah, he's been out a few times. I was fortunate enough to go out a few years ago, and yeah, so that's a real positive project, and each school directly benefits. Well, cumulatively, we've benefited hundreds of school children from a very young age. But when you go out there, you also realize that there's so much work that needs to be done. I mean, it's yeah, it's just a drop in the ocean, really, but it's something that we have been working very closely with Oxfam to do. We were keen to set up our own project rather than just give you know, to a generic or general funds. We wanted to see direct results, really, with the project, and yeah, so we've been working with some of the same people the whole time, you know, the people on the ground over there. So it's been a really nice team that we built up.
And in the UK, what have you been doing in the country where you're based?
Yeah, so over the past few years, we've been getting more involved domestically, particularly involved in charities that are close to head office. So a place called Kirkby and Ashfield in Nottinghamshire. Mm-hmm. So we've been working with various local charities there with initiatives, and we have a committee, if you will, with staff members, and between us, we, you know, at the beginning of a period, we will choose 3 or 4 charities that we want to go forward with, and the staff, you know, the committee, staff-based committee, we will see all the charities and choose the ones which we want to work with, which is always tough because they're all always such good causes as well. So
obviously feels very invested because they get to select who you give back to, and I definitely wanted to ask you this question because people don't always understand what's behind a brand, and so yes, you make beautiful things that bring joy to our homes, and yes, you collaborate with exciting designers to create things that we want to buy, but there's so much more to your family's business, and that's exciting to hear all the ways that you are giving back. To end our conversation, why do you think British design is worth it? So we're now emerging from perhaps not shopping as much as we normally do. Why is British design important and worth it?
Well, I think Well, I'd like to think British design is synonymous with good quality.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, aside from that, it's a sort of representation of, you know, everything that's good about the UK in general. So, you know, multicultural influences and, as I said, quality. I can only really speak for our our brand, but you know, we try to do it with a sense of fun, and I think yeah, British design doesn't take itself too seriously either, whilst it does try to be the best.
And do you think that the schools, that the design schools, are a reason why we are, you know, so fearless and innovative?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're based in London, and we're lucky to have so many amazing art colleges and design schools. So yeah, I mean, London is such a source of inspiration and an attraction for students, tourists. So yeah, there really is a lot going on here. So I think that does attract some really forward-thinking students and other brands, you know, journalists, everything. So we moved our brand. I moved the brand down here about 6 years ago, and it was the best thing I could have done for the brand, for
Oh,
sure.
interesting.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been really fun discussing Kirkby with you today, and we wish you great success going forward. And you have a good rest of the day.
it's great. Thank you. Yeah, first Instagram live. It's
And,
been
and there you are, success. Bye, Jordan.
all
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks, Em. Bye bye.